going to come out nice and early from Weibo as well. It's been a very successful pick for Fengyue throughout the year, and it's one that they have shown a willingness to flex to jungle and top as well. And the Jarvan going to get taken out in response here. Weibo with their first crack at the pool. Syndra's still up.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They banned Akali basically saying we want to pick Syndra or Victor, and they didn't care. I guess since both of them are open, that's why they banned neither. So I can only imagine maybe they want to pick something else because both of them are open.
Looking at the Nocturne here, no Orianna to pair it with, but that's just fine. Still plenty of other good options to go alongside this pick for Xiaohu, as NIP now get to take their choice of the mages, assuming that it is going to be a trade between the two. Do they prioritize the Syndra or the Victor more highly? I think most teams prefer the Syndra at this stage, feeling very comfortable taking it in bot or mid. The Varus nice and early, though. I mean, this is the Hoya Classic, right? Hoya,
it's the Hoya Classic,
perhaps
right?
One of the world's premier Varus top players, still was one of the first ones to pick it up and has played it more than many others. We'll see if he is going to intend to take that one up. They're probably going to keep that flex alive as long as they can, as Guwon snaps up the Trundle as his counter up against that Nocturne.
Now, it's very interesting because the thing is, as much as I harp on those mage champions being so powerful, you don't really want to pick them into Nocturne. That champion is just able to do things that shouldn't be possible, basically prevent you from peeling. You know, if you have Syndra E or like Victor W, he just doesn't care. He just gets directly on top of you and kills you. So that's going to change the theme of this draft, the direction of it. Plus, Locke is also open, which is the counter we've seen into the likes of Syndra. We're going to get the Victor snapped up. That makes a lot more sense in my head versus the Syndra, because at least Victor can shield himself. He can maybe drop the W and pop the spell shield with another one of his spells. He has the Q for movement speed, whereas Syndra is just a sitting duck. Even if you buy a Zhonya's or a Proto Belt, like, you just can't really escape Doctrine Alt nearly as well as Victor can. So that makes a lot more sense, and I'll probably expect them to ban the Syndra, perhaps even the Locke as well. I think Victor's much better into Locke than Syndra is, though, so we'll see.
Yeah, Syndra taken off the board. Yeah, I would not mind a Locke ban here either. Luckily, Weibo have already done the liberty of banning away that Akali. And yeah, you're locked into two pretty immobile carries here in the Victor and the Varus. I would not like to play against a Locke with these two on my team, especially when you don't have any hard CC coming out of the jungle. So I think the Locke ban would have been good, but it is not coming on through. Granted, they do still have the chance to take it here. They can put the Victor bot lane for Photic and still snap up a Locke for themselves.
Yeah, I suppose they could. They did hover. I wonder how much of that was a mind game. But yeah, like I said, I think, okay, so out of the premier mages, I think Cassio and Victor are the better ones into Locke, whereas I think Locke is much better into Orianna Syndra. So we'll see if Xiaohu would even want to opt for a Locke in this situation, or if Care be willing to blind pick it. I don't think the champion is necessarily the best blind pick, but he's much better as a counter. So we will see what they want to opt for here, and if this composition has the flexibility that it appears to. You know, this Varus can be a flex between top and bot, as can this Victor, theoretically speaking. So it's just a matter of how proficient they are, who wants to take what.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, the Lulu almost makes you think it could be an on-hit Varus in the bottom lane. It could do just fine supporting a Victor as well. You could also go for some of those spicier duos in the bottom lane to brawl up against the Lucian Melio if you want to flex them around here. So a lot of flex picks active here with that Victor Varus for NIP, making it very difficult for Weibo to predict what's going on. But I mean,
you said it. We'll see.
You better have been ready for this lock. I mean,
yeah.
I've been telling you guys it was coming for a while, and you choose to ban the Jax instead. So let's see how Xiaohu can do on his lock.
Yeah, I think the Jax ban must mean that they really want to send this Varus top. I believe that's one of the best picks into the Varus top. So that's where my head is at when it comes to that. Maybe they would rather the enemy team has a lock mid versus Victor than a Jax top versus Varus. But if this Varus goes bot lane, I really think the Jax ban makes no sense. So if anything, they kind of probably want to pair this Lulu with like a Zeri or something like that. Or a Kog'Maw, exact same thing. You know, a Rage Blade would be perfect.
That'd be a spicy one for Photic here.
Yunara, those are the three.
Lulu Yunara was a duo for a long time. They do go for the Kog'Maw. Photic busting out the Kog'Maw here. That's his first Kog'Maw of the year. and he will be piloting it alongside the classic Lulu duo. Care gonna have to play a Victor in the lock lane, and #1 priority has to be you can't let this lock get fed. He feels like he is having the time of his life up against Varus Victor Kog'Maw. You're gonna have to be able to find ways to shut this guy down, because Polymorph is kind of the one answer you've really brought to the table for this guy.
I feel like a Xiaohu might just need the Mercs because of that. We'll see if he opts for it. Looks really good, frankly, into the NIP comp with that magic damage profile. And we will have to see what happens. But again, yeah, you really, as Care, have to be Mr. 7 KDA. If you have a death into this lock, things can get really ugly for the rest of your comp. And this could be a story of another interesting last pick, because Kog'Maw is very vulnerable to the likes of Nocturne and Lock. So we'll see if Lulu is able to circumvent that enough, or if they would have rather had someone who is a little less of a dive target.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, in a game that very well may determine the future of Weibo's split here and their entire season, they are going to put a lot of eggs in the Xiaohu and Elk baskets. Those are the veterans we've been talking about all night long. Let's see if they can show up for Weibo and put them in a position to still be in contention for those play-ins. Obviously, they are not mathematically eliminated with a loss here, but it gets damn difficult.
Let's get on to the riff. Looks like they're feeling those Giles down here in the bot lane, maybe playing a little bit more aggressively and getting their advantage. That's the idea of the Kog'Maw pick, is it's just so good into the Lucian with all that range, and Lucian can hardly ever dash forward.
Yeah, it's a solid 2 versus 2 duo, no doubt. I do worry about how it's going to do against Lock Nocturne as we get into later game positions, but certainly has a lot of tools at its disposal in the level 1 brawl up against this Melio Lucian. So starting off at an aggressive tone, and plenty of summoners blowing on both sides, and Guwon goes straight from red buff through enemy try to really try to put Elk and Moham in the dirt.
Okay, so he really wants to make sure that he's the one patrolling this bot side of the map and forcing Weibo Gaming to not get any help at all. This is really good from the side of Guwon, and they might just dive after the Gromp level 2 just like that.
Could. Looking for it here, at the very least showing themselves. Here comes the wave. Elk gonna be the target, has the flash but no barrier, and he will jump on down. First blood to Guwon, really nicely juggled on the tower aggro by Fengyue. And NIP on the board 2 minutes into the game.
I mean, this is just masterful strategy. I feel like their coach must have drafted this up, or they scrimmed this before or something. Like, how did they know that the timing would line up so perfect that they crashed the wave as Trundle is able to arrive with his 2 camps, and Elk and Moham are still level 1. The timing of it is so perfect. The wave control, even from level 1, Lulu and Kog'Maw showing up and zoning Elk and Moham from getting level 2 first. Honestly, just a masterclass strategically, and Guwon did lose a bit of tempo there, investing in that and getting his base canceled. He lives. But, wow, just really well played from the side of NIP.
Yeah, I like this from Xiaohu to move on over, steal away these birds, get a little bit of something back for the time that Guwon spent in the bottom lane. Shout out to Moham interrupting the recall once with the Ultra Mega Fire Kick as well. But, I mean, there's still plenty of camps left for Guwon to take. And now, you actually haven't split the map vertically the way that it looked like you were going to originally, which means Hoya can keep pushing on the top side. Now he has got Guwon in his back pocket. I think this still ends up looking pretty good for NIP for the next couple of minutes.
Yep, definitely does. It just means that Photic and Fengyue aren't really going to get to press the advantage anymore. Guwon says here, I'll give you a lead, but I'm not going to babysit you after. And Xiaohu kind of does want to exact some revenge down here. I don't know if he's just going to dive the tower, but I definitely wants to give them as hard of a time as possible to compensate for what Guwon just cheesed them with.
We'll have to see. Elk getting up and aggressive. Wants to make sure that that Q going to be able to get through the minions as well as the opposition. See if that dive is going to be in the cards. This is a siege wave, but Yeah, thinking better of it here is Xiaohu just channeling that recall in the tri-brush, not going to see an angle, and even though heal and exhaust aren't quite back up yet, Photic and Fengyue do both have the flashes. They do still have
Xiaohu
shielding. Just deciding it's not the right idea, as here comes Guwon trying to punish Xiaohu. Should be able to just blink his way out of here without too much trouble.
Yeah, Xiaohu's totally chilling. Meanwhile, Elk down here. Oh, I love the attempt, but unfortunately the angle of the piercing light does not go geometrically in Elk's favor, and Fengyue is able to escape because he did aim that one through Photic's body, but they just weren't quite lined up. It was a close try, but unfortunately not going to be what Elk was looking for. Though they have pressed the advantage back somewhat here with the way that Lucian and Emilio have been trading. And all the gold from the first blood is on Trundle anyway, so I feel like they can live with it.
Yeah, that's a flash for heal exchange that Elk ends up making in the bottom lane. Perhaps not the type of summoner trade that you are looking for most frequently. And definitely going to still be a very successful laning phase for Photic so far. Hoya flashing out of the procession. What is up with Hoya's flash key today? Is it broken?
I'm not sure, but this does remind me of some of the greatest top lane friends I've ever made. And the one lesson they taught me was don't look back. Never look back. And Hoya doesn't seem to be looking anywhere right now. I don't know if Xiaohu is going to find him.
Look back, Hoya. Look back. Xiaohu coming in from the river, going to blink forward, going to be able to land that ultimate, and looking for the execution. He's going to get it. Xiaohu flashes out, actually. Doesn't use the reset E. Just wants to make sure that he's going to be safe, and he is off to the races. That's 2 stacks of Dark Seal. That's a kill onto the lock. But does need to navigate his way out of this. Should be able to blink out of the wall. No problem.
Chilling is Xiaohu. A similar mistake from Hoya at game 1, where he just, as you say, loves to flash in very interesting ways. We can only speculate what's going on in his head. He loves clicking forward. I mean, all the power to him, but even Xiaohu doesn't necessarily showcase the most mastery of lock there. A bit of a rookie flash. Maybe didn't expect the damage to be lethal just yet or something, but either way, Xiaohu gets the kill, gets the 2 Dark Seal stacks, and punishes Hoya's over-aggression.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps maybe he was closer to killing there than we're giving him credit for. He is a big Varus top guy. He's played a ton of games of this. He must have seen something with the W cast and everything. As here comes Xiaohu looking in the bottom side, but a nice polymorph is going to hose that play. We were talking about it earlier. Polymorph is kind of the one-piece attack that NIP have to deal with this lock.
Yep.
And you see why right there. It does hose an attempt from Xiaohu to make a play.
Yeah, that's about all they got. I mean, later on, Hoya can maybe aim some chains at him, but is Alec ever surviving this? Chad, I'm going to go with no.
No, not without Flash. He is done for. Photic going to pick up a second one here. Or his first, actually. The first kill did go over to Guwon. And that is going to be even more in the pockets of this Kog'Maw. And, you know, their last pick, counter pick for the bottom lane, working out pretty well for NIP thus far.
Yeah, so far so good. It felt like Xiaohu's roam down there was extremely effective in terms of the investment. He dropped like one wave to get both the flashes from Kog'Maw Lulu, but unfortunately the subsequent play from Guwon, right place, right time. Really good jungler he is, and he's able to capitalize. Just to play the Hoya's lawyer for just to finally finish on that point, I do think the flash kind of made sense. Like, he would almost kill him, but it's always just a flash trade. Like, you're never actually killing him, and as the ranged champion who is so much more easy to target, I don't see why you would want to trade flashes. So just a really aggressive playstyle from Hoya, but I suppose it's working because if he does hectic aggression in the top side, it just enables the rest of his comp to succeed.
Yeah. Weibo are the first ones to make the swap, but NIP are the first ones to touch the grubs here. They get one, or they end up backing away and wanting to pick up that clashing wave, and I think they're going to be just fine with that. They're going to give 2 back over to the Weibo side as long as the full 3 don't go over. Actually, Guwon might come over and try to steal one, just to see if he can be greedy, reach for a little bit extra. Recognizes that his Kog'Maw Lulu are a little bit farther away for the play. Xiaohu and Care both approaching. Care with a 1 level lead here. might end up making a little bit of a difference. They're
Wow.
going to instead just pull the trigger. They're getting on top of this Kog'Maw. Lock not even needed. They blow Photic up. Maybe forgot what champion he was playing for a second there. No chance of keeping him alive through that one, especially without Lulu level 6.
Bit of an old-fashioned Western standoff where we just see the Grub living above smite range. Both of them having the 1k smite, but Xiaohu's was just on cooldown because he smited the second Grub. So he was trying to buy 15 seconds for his extra smite charge. And they're just kind of staring at each other wondering who's going to smite this Grub. And Xiaohu's like, hold up. The flashless bot lane is just kind of chilling in the top lane here. Let me just ult straight onto him. Pops Paranoia, and this is the kind of thing that makes you really realize the risk in picking Kog'Maw in a draft like this. Like, sure, you can press the advantage early into the Lucian, but later on, it's kind of going to feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, perhaps not realizing the Fengyue still didn't have access to the rampant growth. Not 100% sure there, but he still doesn't have it now and is at risk of getting chased onto by Mr. L.
Should be any wave now.
Yeah, he just backs up away. He's just fine for the time being and does finally take on over. Xiaohu looking for a play bot lane once again, though. He
no wards.
keeps on seeking for this every chance
no
he
wards.
gets. No wards, no flash on either member.
Nothing.
Nah, just stepping back is going to be enough. And now here comes the collapsing members of NIP. Guwon going to throw down a pillar nice and early. Xiaohu, though, it's just a quick, simple blink over the wall with Ashen Pursuit.
Pretty good spell, that one. And yeah, it seemed like NIP wasn't privy to Xiaohu's position as far as I know, but doesn't want to pop the Purgatory, doesn't want to ult in like that. Knows that if he commits to that dive as Xiaohu, he doesn't have enough damage, for one thing. There's exhaust and wild growth. But for another, the Trundle Victor was hunting him in hot pursuit, so thankfully gets out on time. But definitely with the amount of investment he's been making away from the mid lane, he's just slowly losing XP and now losing the Drake.
I mean, 4 members of Weibo show up to that dragon, but they just don't have a route in. So they are going to have to cede that one over to the side of NIP. Does mean that more alone time in the one-on-one for Hoya, feeling very strong in that laning phase at this point. Here's the Paranoia pop. They're going to get in here onto Photic. He's at 1 HP, diving forward, exhaust, shield, ultimate, everything comes through, but not enough. Will not keep that Kog'Maw alive. Weibo get their man. And now they're going to look for some more. There is the Purgatory thrown down, flashed away from by Guwon, but Xiaohu not done. Going to keep them from backing out away as the minion wave collapses through, but thinks better of it, knows how strong Guwon can be, and does head back up to the top side.
Yeah, hang on a minute here. Weibo showing us a pretty similar pattern to game 1 where the game is kind of unsettled. We don't know which team is going to get the last laugh. We constantly trading blows here, and it's been back-to-back good hits from the side of Weibo. Punishing Photic's Kog'Maw pick twice now. Even popping the exhaust was Photic, but just not quite able to survive all that damage that was coming out. That culling pretty much full channeled onto the back of Photic there. Felt like he kind of wanted someone to block some shots or something. The wild growth and the shield just not going to cut it with that amount of damage being dealt.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, again, there feels like back-to-back miscalcs on what you can survive on the Kog'Maw, and both times the Nocturne comes out ahead. Fengyue had the ultimate this time, had the shield, they had the exhaust. Everything executed correctly, but the numbers, the math, just don't end up working out in NIP's favor. So they are going to find themselves very close to parity now. The early advantage for Photic has largely been erased, and Xiaohu finding himself off to the races here.
And I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like the pattern or the rhythm of these teams is like so similar to game 1. Just the exact way the game's transpiring. It feels like the other 4 players are just battling back and forth. Meanwhile, Hoya and Zika are just island chilling. This just felt like exactly the same story as game 1. And it's just really interesting seeing these two similarity in terms of style kind of clash, and the drafts do have their differences, whereas, you know, we have Xiaohu here on the dive champs, same with Xiaohu, same with Elk and Moham wanting to be enabled by such dive, but again, just really interesting how these top laners are kind of uninvolved.
Yeah, Hoya building up a lead, though, can certainly be a big factor coming in later. This was what he was on when they lost their one game to IG, but Hoya put up a hell of a fight there. He had some really big highlights, being able to stand and fight up against some really powerful dive. And perhaps that's what NIP are leaning on here. Even if the Kog'Maw gets blown up, they do have a backup marksman here in the form of the Varus. Can't dive onto both unless you can, unless you end up splitting resources between the Nocturne and the Lock. So far, still stable for NIP here. Very faint gold lead to them as the bot lanes move to take over mid and see just how much they can control these waves.
Right, both bot laners on their first item spikes, pretty strong, pretty even in power level. And, you know, Lightbulb just went off in my head when it comes to Hoya. And I really think the static shift purchase makes a lot of sense because you don't always see that first item on the Varus, but think about it. It's going to apply the Blight to all of Yorick's little ghouls, and it's going to help you one-shot the ghouls with your E or something like that. It's just going to be able to have that AoE damage necessary to deal with all those ghouls that Zika's going to be spawning. And I definitely like the way Hoya pilots this Varus. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Elk getting extremely chunked, Gordo.
Yeah, really nice exchange there for NIP. They get the slow down off of that Glitter Lance and take full advantage, Living Artillery connecting from Photic to really bring that damage home. As they're going to take advantage of that health lead and start up onto this Rift Herald. Should be able to secure that one, no problem. Weibo juking towards the bottom side. That was a TP out of Xiaohu. Pressure this bot lane turret. Should be able to pick up first turret credit off of this one. More gold into the Lock's pocket. And control around the bottom side for this upcoming Dragon in just about 20 seconds.
So honestly, so far so good for Xiaohu on the Lock. You know, he got those 2 Darksteel stacks, picking up the kill onto Hoya, it was, I believe. Has his Lichbane, gets the first Blood Tower, and suddenly he's got a lot of gold to his name. He's really strong, he's got a lot of AP, and he's going to be able to completely one-shot people so long as they don't have summoners or spells to counter him.
Yeah, big threat here is going to be the man to watch. Xiaohu, as he enters this next skirmish. So far, just keeping the pressure onto the bottom lane as both teams fight for mid control. NIP going to be the ones who get to move first, but they're more interested in catching these bottom waves than they are trying to spam the dragons as soon as they're alive.
Right, these dragons are not the easiest commitment in the world. There's obviously, once you start up, the enemy team's probably not going to just be giving you a free pass, and they're probably going to want to start trading their spells your way. So you only really want to start this if you have the right setup and the right conditions. I don't know what that looks like for either side right now, but chunking them in the middle like this kind of looks like that.
Anyway, falling low, but Elk maybe stepped up too far, going to be forced to flap. Here comes the paranoia once again. Every defensive tool gets used on Photic, and this time, with the addition of the flash, he stays alive, but they aren't able to trade too much back. Xiaohu coming in from the side, does not see an angle to enter. Photic and Fengyue both incredibly low, but neither going to drop on down here. Xiaohu not ruling out an attempted play, still hovering around in the bushes, but NIP have sent their weakest members back and away. Instead, he's going to try for a move onto Hoya, but not going to be possible with Guwon there.
0 kills take place, but a lot just happened there, and it's really interesting. For one thing, I gotta give credit to Hoya for the quick fingers on the TP. Usually it's really hard to TP into Nocturne. Problem is, it's kind of false credit because he didn't really want to TP in there. It's really, you want to immediately snap respond to Nocturne ults with TP because you kind of get this 1-second window to do so, but unfortunately, he is gonna have to rearrange the entire map now because of that. You know, York was able to chunk his tower down to just 1 plate. They weren't even really able to get the Drake. So after all, it's a pretty even play. It's just that Hoya has no TP now, and that's a 7-minute cooldown, Mr. Gordo.
Yeah, and does certainly mean that they're going to be vulnerable to follow-up plays. Here comes another paranoia into the backline. This one going to be all over Fengyue, and this guy's got no flash. He will drop on down, but it's a 1-for-1 trade as they are able to return fire on towards the Nocturne. Care trying to stay alive for as long as he can. Zika will eventually get him down, and it is a 2-for-1 exchange. Weibo with the numbers advantage.
We have a lot of brawling going on, but not a lot of deaths happening. We'll see if any of these HP bars, you know, will be depleted. Guwon sitting on a rather low one, and Xiaohu does missing health damage, but not quite able to reach with Hoya being in the AO. Probably can chunk the mid tower at the very least with the zoning they are doing. not going to matter all that much unless they're actually able to crack the tower. Seems like the game is just going to remain in a relatively even state, and it's just going to be a matter of who slips up.
Oh, and speaking of slipping up, Fengyue going to walk in towards a bush that is not warded, and Xiaohu's going to try to dive onto him. Can't quite get the damage. Finally gets the execution, but it's going to be in exchange for his own life. He couldn't hit the threshold even with the Purgatory, and Fengyue just survived way longer than he expected.
And that's honestly the draft coming into play for Xiaohu. He's not really able to go to Sorks. He has to go Mercs, doesn't do enough damage. Speaking of damage, we see Fengyue going down in the previous play as well. That's back-to-back deaths for the Fengyue. Care trying to build some distance away from Zika. Low-key, he could have bought a lot more time, but he tried to play around the cheeky Fog War edge. Didn't end up ending. He just gets slammed to the dome by Zika. And I will say, that's not ideal for Xiaohu. I saw the expression on Fengyue's face at the end of that one, and I wouldn't call it a smirk, but I absolutely would not call it a frown. It seemed like he had some positive emotions, or at least above neutral when it came to that death right there. I think he was more than happy to trade 1-for-1 with Xiaohu burning the flash as well. And I saw him immediately actually look like he was typing the summoner spell timers as well, kind of pressing the enter key. So there's a reason he got that MVP game 1, even though he just died twice in a row.
Yeah, I mean, even all the little things with that exchange go in the side of NIP, right? They lose the Dark Seal stacks on the lock. They don't get the Purgatory trigger to actually pick up the Relic and get that enhanced execution threshold for future plays. It drops off too quickly. So even the little snowball-y benefits that Locke can be looking for do not go his way in that 1-for-1 exchange for the support. It's pretty rough for Weibo, all said and done, and Fengyue is going to be plenty proud of what he was able to bait out there, and he's definitely going to be typing worth in all chat.
It's absolutely true. On the bright side for Xiaohu, he does still cling on to the 700 gold lead here. Guwon, I mean, he's at the stage of the game where he can kind of just do what he wants. He could even side lane and pressure this Yorick away if he really wanted to, even if Hoya wasn't there. But you know, Hoya being there is going to pressure him 2v1. Big trade in the mid. Pretty sure Alc's going to heal most of that up. I don't think they're going to be able to punish that chunk to get onto him. But I mean, for the side of Xiaohu, I just want to say, like, you did get quite a bit of gold right there. So I mean, once your flash does come back up, then you can maybe capitalize on it. But for now, you're definitely on the backseat. While it seems like NIP is going to be able to have their first moves along the map.
Yeah, still just trying to keep this mid lane turret standing as long as they can. Keep funneling waves into Photic. They know how dangerous this Kog'Maw will be later on. Xiaohu has an angle onto Care here, coming through the jungle. Going to try to chase this Victor down. I think just spotted him. But now doesn't want to throw the nails into no vision. Does get a couple of hits down. Finds a decent amount of damage. Did throw down the Purgatory. I don't think was even close to triggering it, though, so he's going to have to back away. Nicely done by Care.
Right, I feel like Xiaohu honestly could have gotten a way better result from that surprise look onto Care. He had a good flank angle, but Care playing the walls really nicely there. The lock does have the W, a really powerful roam tool, I will say, with the amount of movement speed it does give you, as well as the E, but just the way Care kited that out, he kited into the try. It looked like they were maybe coming to collapse on him with Elk, but Care was able just to escape to his bot tier 2 tower, stepping aside from the Purgatory. Perhaps if Xiaohu was able to hit the slow from that could have been a better looking trade, but in the end, that's just going to be another W for the side of NIP. It doesn't necessarily compound much on the scoreboard other than a dragon, but little by little, NIP has been having successful looks, but then again, Xiaohu attaining even more solo gold. They're not getting overall beneficial plays, but Xiaohu's just getting richer and richer.
Yeah, I like the use of vision from Care in that last play. You know, those nails are thin. They're hard to connect when you don't know where the enemy team is exactly. TP towards Xiaohu. I don't think Care is going to be able to find this one, but will deny Xiaohu the ability to soak up a couple of plates. He's actually going to TP out. He thinks this collapse is a lot more than it actually is. So that'll be a mid laner for mid laner TP exchange.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even going to comment on which TP I liked more or less, but they don't think either of them were too great. Looks like Kog'Maw's going to have to burn all the spells.
Looking to dive on towards Photic. Manages to stay alive a little bit longer, but he dies post-flash. Weibo has just enough damage to get the Kog'Maw down, and now Photic out for 30 seconds.
I mean, literally all the spells that burn: Flash, Exhaust, Heal, Wild Growth, and it wasn't enough, so you'd think it would be better.
Purgatory comes through, connects
Whoa there.
but the damage does not, and Xiaohu going to take a lot of damage right back from that Chaos Storm. Weibo forced away from the Varus.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I honestly kind of don't. We might want to work on our last picks here. I mean, I don't know. Why are we picking the most vulnerable champs in the game with the last picks of the draft? First, we have Xerath. Like, can you think of more immobile champions than Xerath, Kog'Maw? I mean, we see the dive. We see it. They have Nocturne. They have Lock. And he picks the Kog'Maw anyway. I mean, you're kind of left between Kog'Maw, Lulu, and Yunara. I mean, I would personally prefer... Sorry, Kog'Maw, Zeri, or Yunara. I would have preferred the Zeri Yunara because they have some dashing mechanisms, but Kog'Maw, just the sitting duck, now has no flash, no exhaust, and no heal from his Fengyue kitten, so it's going to be pretty tough to stay alive as the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if NIP can stick the dismount in the way that Weibo did, but yeah, certainly, you know, you're worried about the dive when you see this comp, and certainly gets proven correct here as Hoya finds Moham, forces the flash out there. Nice Chains of Corruption usage from the NIP top laners. Xiaohu coming in from the top side, but he is all alone. This is a solo mission, connecting a couple of nails on towards Photic, but not seeing an angle to pull the trigger, looking for a huge Purgatory. Does get it out of multiple members. The reset's coming through from Xiaohu, popping off in the team fight. A triple right off the bat. A double for Elk, a clean ace for Weibo Gaming as they find the perfect team fight in the Baron Pit.
Gordo, if only you could see the expression on my face right now. They just disappeared, all 5 of them, just like that. It was just out of thin air, out of nowhere, out of the blue. They just all immediately get evaporated. And this is why season 16-26, we have the Lock Champion here. And just look what the Lock Champion does. Is this a 5-man Purgatory? I'm pretty sure it is. And they just all get completely one-tapped, reset after reset after reset, pretty much playing Katarina at that point. Practical instant triple kill from Xiaohu. That was a near dead even game state when out of nowhere just get a 5-2 that just blows it wide open.
Weibo massively in the lead off of that one, and yet the instinct with the paranoia is to group up together, protect your carries, make sure that the Nocturne cannot find an isolated member, and Xiaohu takes absolute advantage, connects the Purgatory across the entire team, and wipes them off the map. Weibo now massively in the lead, 7,000 in their name, and to have full control over the bottom side of this map with this Baron buff.
I mean, even Elk dropping some crazy high numbers here in the LPL. I mean, this is one of the most goated AD carries we've ever seen. I'm glad to see that he's having a good performance here. I don't want to see Weibo just get knocked out just like that. Keep it interesting. Fight like this, I love it. And you know what else is so great? Xiaohu just claimed like 4 souls in that Purgatory probably, so this execute is going to be even more serious now. And the threat, the amount of damage Weibo has for this siege is ridiculous, Gordo.
Yeah, I mean, the threat that this lock brings to these fights now, impossible to overstate, as NIP just need to try to wait out this Baron before they can even get back onto their game plan. I mean, they are completely out of the loop for how this game was intended to play now. They had kept things even for so long. Their scaling composition was looking so good. Even when Kog'Maw was getting dove, at least the Victor and the Varus were able to represent. The Trundle's going to be a big threat. But now Weibo are so ahead. Trigger getting pulled out of Elk. He's going to be the first one to fall down. Gets a reset onto the Chaos Storm. And Weibo immediately have to back away.
3,500 kills for Elk, but another one in the death column there, kind of keeping him away from the 4,000 mark. They don't know if they would. He needs to stay alive in this group Nirvana to keep getting more kills, right? He needs to get into the play-ins. But NIP find themselves a pretty sizable look here. That is a huge punish. If they get 3rd Drake as well, the entire composition of NIP has a win con now. They have a win con now.
Yeah, I mean, the Hextech Soul would certainly give them plenty to be able to fight back into this one. They're going to be able to pick up this bottom lane tower as well. They did give up mid inhibitor for the effort, so that is going to be a big task for them going forward. But you know what? This is a Victor double marksman comp. I think they're going to be able to eat up those super minions without too much issue. and there's not going to be a major objective up until that Baron in 3 more minutes.
So let's see how Elk gets this caught out. I mean, even then, not getting lifesteal from these minions. Dashes straight forward. What a chance of corruption. And the Milio ult, it's just late, is it not? Like, why are we not immediately Milio Breath of Life on the Elk there? I mean, obviously you don't want to get hit by chains of corruption. It's just so much overwhelming CC. Perhaps he couldn't even live regardless. But yeah, just a bit of a brazen dash forward there from Elk. Gets punished. And although Weibo has a huge gold lead, as you said, I feel like NIP's comp can certainly withstand the siege pressure and the super minions.
Just need to keep Photic safe. Need to make sure that these Xiaohu dives are not successful in picking off their carries, at least not without suffering heavy casualties in the process. And that is going to be their #1 mission for the foreseeable future. Still down in gold. Here goes the trigger pull. It's on to Photic. He flashes back away. Everybody's here to collapse onto Xiaohu. He does manage to get his man, and they are not able to trade back. It's a double kill to Xiaohu. He's looking for more. Goes into the stasis, but Guwon's able to back far enough away. They will be able to take down Xiaohu for the effort. Xiaohu staying alive with sub 100 HP, and Hoya getting picked apart by Elk. Goes into the stasis himself, has to flash out to safety. Zika's on top of him, gets him down with 1 more Q. Guwon pushed back into the fountain. Care much the same, and with 4 members still alive, Weibo are looking to slam the door shut onto this game before it goes any further. 1 Nexus turret still left alive. Damage being pumped out by Care as much as possible. Guwon still healthy to be able to step up here and try to clear out these waves, but the 2nd Nexus turret has been taken down, and nobody can push Weibo back away. Paranoia back up, cast to jump forward onto Fengyue. Guwon falls down, and so does the Nexus. Weibo Gaming taking us to game #3.
We might have an all-time highlight with that Baron play that Xiaohu was able to just completely disintegrate NIP, and it felt like the momentum and morale changed ever since that moment. And at the end there, a really nice way to finish off the game. We were saying that's the mission: keep the Kog'Maw alive, protect the president. Yeah, that guy just got completely one-shot time after time again, and it was just too much to handle. Their comp just didn't have enough champions left. Although NIP was really low on HP for each of their members at the end there, they were all still alive. It doesn't matter if you have 30% HP or less, you know, as long as you've got each other, teamwork makes the dream work, baby. And now we got a 3-game series.
Yeah, I mean, incredible game there. We've been waiting for Xiaohu to show up and keep Weibo in contention, and he does just that in this game. That 5-man purgatory at the Baron is the play of the game. If Weibo wins, it'll be the play of the series. Honestly, even if Weibo loses, it might be the play of the series. It was such a big swing in the game. 7,000 or 8,000 gold going right into Weibo's pockets with the Secure the Baron as well, and catapults them right into a winning position.
Yeah, and we honestly, we're just budget league watchers. We're not supposed to know the draft inside out, but we knew this. We knew they were looking for the lock, and I'm sure NIP did as well. And they said, Xiaohu, come at me, bro. And he took that personally. He really, really did. And Photic kind of did the same thing with the Kog'Maw lock-in, and I think it went a lot better for the side of Xiaohu. You know, NIP kind of disrespecting in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, NIP played around it pretty well for most of the game. You know, a sufficiently disastrous Baron can undo a whole lot of work over the course of the first 20 minutes of the game, and that's exactly what plays out before our eyes here. Makes one huge play, completely wipes NIP, and Weibo can get so much back in the time that affords them.
Right. I mean, I look forward to seeing the gold graph. I mean, that might be one of the most vertical moments that we'll ever get to see in terms of LPL graphs. That'll be really cool to watch. But yeah, in terms of the rest of this game was just a slow and steady kind of current where it was back and forth. You know, you could see it kind of swinging both ways, kind of staying near gold parity. There wasn't too much of a lead going on or being built. Both teams were getting their licks in, but yeah, it was just a matter of this right here, to be honest with you. It was the fact that this Kog'Maw was such a vulnerable target, and although they had the protections from Lulu, it just wasn't always enough. Like you said, the math wasn't mathing sometimes, but let's just take a moment to witness this.
Yeah, I mean, what an excellent play here from Xiaohu. Just reset after reset after reset, cleans house completely, and basically ends the game right there. I mean, even Elk with some silliness later on cannot take away the impact that play had. And one more dive, one more success. Xiaohu somehow survives here. That's pretty crazy. And it's a nice clean up from Weibo from here on out.
Right, and honestly, I don't want to praise Xiaohu too much. Like, that's the ironic part, because that play was epic, it was legendary, it was synapse worthy, it was top 10 of all time. I don't even know how to classify that play. You don't see that often. That's like a once a month play, I'm gonna be honest. But we saw that, but in general, Xiaohu looked kind of scuffed on the lock. Like, I think a lot of the time with his E reset, I feel like he can't have played this that many times. In the top lane, flashing out instead of Eing out with the reset. In the end there, going in with the E reset. Even in the kind of pentakill ace moment, that wasn't actually penta, right? But even Ian kind of left when he should have E'd right at the end. It didn't seem like he knew how to use that E spell to its full potential, but it just didn't even matter.
Listen, dude, Champ gets banned a lot. It's hard to put the reps in, all right? And,
hey, facts, true.
And its current state, it doesn't look like that matters. Really good stuff to be able to close out the game.
That's a good point.
I mean, we were calling it after the first round of draft that, you know, if you're staring down at that point, they already had Victor plus Varus. They're vulnerable to lock. They had Victor, Varus, Trundle. That you lack the lockdown to be able to stop an assassin like that. You're a very vulnerable target. Yeah, they're going to give Xiaohu that MVP all day, every day. That's going to be another... Yeah. If this one's not an 8-0, I'm going to be shocked. Really hard to name a different member of Weibo for this game.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I criticize Xiaohu, it's just kind of about the micro a little bit with the one E spell. It's whatever. There's like 3 times where for like in the top lane, at the Baron Ace, and at the very end of the game there. But that's... whatever, right? In general, he was playing the champ thematically how he should. He was finding those looks on the side lanes in the early game. I remember he burned both those flashes just like that. He was making use of that amount of movement speed he's able to get on the lock and just be everywhere around the map. He's causing a lot of pressure, a lot of chaos, and made it really hard for Care, made it really hard for the bot side, and looks like one of the casters just might not be a Xiaohu stan.
One Xiaohu supporter among them here, but that's okay. Other than that, it's all going Xiaohu's way. The AI knows better than to pick somebody else. And yeah, that cleanup, that's going to be a highlight for Xiaohu's year for certain. Let's see if he can keep Weibo standing, get more opportunities for more highlights by being able to take down NIP in tonight's series. We are going the full distance. We got a game number 3 coming your way. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break to check out who is going to walk away with the win in Group Nirvana today.